Check. Hey everybody, it's Scott here for episode 5 of Asked and Answered, where you guys send in questions and I do my darndest to get through the answers. So what do we got, Sid?
Hello everybody. Today's question for Scott is, what is the comparison between holding unimproved land and investing that same amount in equities?
Read that to me again.
What is the comparison between holding unimproved land and investing that same amount in equities?
Oh, that's a new one. So holding raw land, I suppose, versus holding equities. Well, oddly enough, I did a study on this. And it wasn't necessarily on raw land, it was on real estate in general, so to be fair. But we know historically, if you go back about 100 years, actually maybe even a little longer than 100 years now, because it was about 10 years ago that I looked at this. But we know that real estate, as measured by primary residences, have earned on average between 5 and 6% a year historically. I can't imagine raw land is a whole lot different, I wouldn't think. Maybe even a little less possibly. And we know equity markets, if you look back to the turn of the last century, were around 7 to 7.5%. So the real return of equities versus raw land is a little higher. But I'm not one of those people. I own real estate. That literally the building I'm sitting in, I own. And I believe real estate, as I think Will Rogers once famously said, they don't make no more of it. So that's got to be a good thing, right? There's some scarcity there. So I'm not a person who believes you should have all your money in stocks, nor do I believe you should have all your money in real estate. Real estate is an asset class. So what we do in here every day is we look at asset allocation, and we have a pie chart. Well, that pie chart just isn't stocks and different kinds of stocks. It's stocks and fixed income and real estate, maybe precious metals and collectibles and art and whatever your thing is. So it's naive and short-sighted, in my opinion, to not consider real estate as part of your asset allocation and to understand what the long-term ramifications of owning it. And more importantly, what is the disconnect between real estate returns and equity markets. And what I mean by that is if real estate's doing poorly, are equities doing well? And if equities are doing poorly, is real estate doing well? Is the diversity of that also an important thing to consider? If you looked at '08, for example, actually, if you looked at 2005 through 2007, forget '08 for a second, you would have said, well, the equity markets weren't doing much. Stocks weren't doing much, and real estate was doing great. Now, we all know there was a little bit of a reason for that turned out to be a little bit hollow. But the truth of the matter is they tended kind of do well at the same time. So I don't know that you're offsetting risk in one by owning the other. But again, I go back to this. Real estate I would consider the more stable investment. So when you're building a portfolio to have 30% or 20% or 40%, for all I know, in real estate, again, something they don't make any more of, as opposed to just having all your money in bonds or stocks, I think it's a wonderful idea. I don't think it's an either or. I think you should own both. And I think if you look at most successful people around you who are, for lack of a better term, wealthy, you'll find very few that just own one thing. You'll find a lot. I know in my client base, on average, somebody that's worth a couple $1 million probably has 20 to 30% of their net worth in real estate, if not more. So, and I'm all for it because I believe it's a good diversification tool. So I don't know if that properly answered the question. I don't think it's should you own this one instead of that one. I think owning them both in the proper proportion makes a lot of sense. So I hope that helps.